Garrison,
Yeah.
I'd really appreciate it if during this conversation you refrain from, being an asshole. But
Well, I'm not trying to be not an asshole.
oh, well, was that my projection?
I don't know, but maybe you were projecting yourself on yourself.
Are you calling me an asshole?
I think you just called yourself an asshole.
You're a big jerk.
That's your projection of yourself. Asshole.
We've heard from many of you over the years that an authentic interaction, whether it's playful or tender, edgy or silly or adventurous or anything in between, always has this buzz that's like some sort of spiritual practice, like a relational meditation. As indispensable as an individual practice is for those of us in a more secular lifestyle, it can be like pulling teeth to find the gumption to actually sit silently with ourselves for even an hour. Something about practicing with another person, when done intentionally, can inspire each of us to continue going deeper moment by moment. It's like an intersubjective meditation practice. In that buzz of a heightened sense of aliveness together, in its relaxed yet totally intense focus in which the rest of the world seems to fall away, in the realization that every moment is pregnant with discovery just by the quality of your attention together. Even a dull moment or one of those awkward silences is all the more fascinating. All right, guys, practice number 1 is honoring your impact on each other without losing yourself. Acknowledging that you do impact each other in a way that actually accentuates your own truth. And this practice is going to run through all 3 practices. So anything you speak will be owning and even describing your own experience. And you'll know if it's your experience by whether it can be argued or not. If it's an assessment, even a nice assessment, a compliment, oh, you're great, oh, nice hair, those assessments could be argued, and you know you've veered from your truth. And the moment you veer from your truth, you're in that hall of mirrors where it's hard to say whether you're being with each other or with your projections of each other, and you're better off sitting in the monastery alone, where you know that whatever you're facing is yours. The sentence stem is, when I'm with you in this moment, I'm noticing. Begin.
When I'm with you in this moment, I'm noticing the color of your eyes and the little flecks inside them. And I'm noticing the way the light is reflecting in the upper corners of your eyes.
And Garrison, as you breathe and feel what it's like to be with Bodhi in this moment, you simply echo back the same stem. And being with you right now, what I'm noticing is, begin.
And being with you right now, what I'm noticing is that I feel really comfortable being here with you.
And consider that being comfortable is contrasting something where you're not comfortable, and dial it even more into what is it like to feel comfortable for you right now.
Being with you in this moment, I feel relaxed and curious to connect with you deeper.
Being with you in this moment, I'm enjoying the process of not knowing what's coming next or not having any idea what I'm going to say. And I feel a little bit of warmth in my chest and a little bit of excitement.
Being with you in this moment, I'm feeling pulled in two directions. One, trying to think of what to say, and the other, just really relaxing and being in the moment.
Being with you right now, I resonated with that, and I'm feeling a similar thing of like, oh God, what's next? What am I gonna say? And a trust that whatever's happening is gonna be fine. And then when I heard that that was going on for you, I relaxed and felt more at ease and more connected to you.
Being with you in this moment is, being with you in this moment, I'm looking at what has me be less close to you and other people than I'd like to be.
And what do you think that is?
And being with you right now, I'm feeling curious.
And being with you right now, I'm feeling curious about that.
Being with you right now, I'm feeling appreciation for your interest in that.
Being with you right now, I'm noticing I'm wanting to stray from the structure and find out what's happening.
Last round.
Being with you right now, I'm feeling appreciation for the connection that I feel with you.
Being with you right now, I'm feeling happy that we get to do this.
Take a full breath, both of you. This first practice is simple, and there are many relational meditations already out there that oftentimes have one person repeat a question or a sentence stem that elicits something or an inquiry from the other person. Most of those could just as easily be a recorder or some sort of machine repeating, except for the quality of the being together, which is just as important as the words being said. And as these relational practices build, they're more and more complex, and more of the personality of both people is relevant for the practice. Practice number 2, getting someone's world. The one thing that's not going to occur to me is my occurring. What I mean by that is, if the world occurs at a base level somewhat threatening, and everything I do and say and value and the entire life I build is based on this pervasive sense way in the background of that, it's a bit threatening. Got to be careful. Everything I see is through the looking of threat. The one thing I'm not going to notice is those sunglasses, the tint of threat on them that I'm looking through. It could be cold and uncaring. It could be carefree and a free ride. whatever that tent is, having a relational practice can help us see the thing that our eyeball is not designed to see, which is itself. So Bodhi, in the first warm-up exercise of impact, you started getting curious, naturally curious about what was going on with Garrison. So for round 2, you're going to get his world, and it's a two-way street. The more vulnerable one person is, the more able they'll be to really discover what it's like to be someone else. Your practice is to ask any question that'll help you get what Garrison's world was like when he shared that stem that got you curious about how he keeps himself separate. The power of this practice is not only for one person to practice getting another worldview outside of our own, but the cool thing is Bodhi's not accustomed to whatever that old buzz of the refrigerator is in the background of Garrison's universe. So as she gets acquainted with his world, she's the one who can be like, oh, got it. You said this because of this, and what's that buzz in the background? And initially, if you're Garrison, you're going to be like, what buzz? It's been there so long, we can't even hear it anymore. But it's totally an unowned part of our own experience. If you honor it cleanly, you can actually discover someone's world so fully that they'll discover their own world more fully in a way that they can include it, honor it, and transcend it. It's another breath, still feeling how you're together and impacting each other. That what it feels like to be you is informed and inspired by what it's like to be with the other. Let go of any assumptions of what you're going to ask or say, and Bodhi, begin.
So in the first round, you said something about wondering what gets in the way of being closer with you and other people. Are you still in touch with that?
Sure.
Excuse me. What do you think it is?
Well, I don't know if I know what it is, but I noticed that there's it's a common thing for me to know so many amazing, great people, and yet somehow not feel like I have enough energy to maintain all the relationships with all the people that I want.
And even after one round, just check in and see if you feel closer. In what ways you feel closer or farther apart. Continue. Actually, Bodhi, do you feel mainly closer or less close?
I feel less close.
Great. Good to notice. And what I want you to try is, for now, for this round, in the third round, you'll actually explore that dissonance. Mm-hmm. This round, you're taking full responsibility for getting more acquainted with his world. So the first question was, are you present to it now? Mm-hmm. So you brought it to the moment. Mm-hmm. Second question, as opposed to what do you think it is, which I think is a common thing that anyone would ask, take like a half step back. What question occurs to you if you take a half step back?
What's it like?
Yes, that's where I'm feeling it as well. And maybe even, what had you bring that up? What was going on for you when you said that?
That's like, yeah.
Great.
Cool. So what was going on for you when you said that in the first round?
What was coming up for me in that moment was feeling connected with you, and again realizing, oh, here's someone I really like, and yet I haven't reached out and connected as much as I would normally like to. Not even normally like to. It's there's a way that it's hard for me to reach out to a lot of people.
Is it Is it hard because you get busy? Or is it vulnerable? Like, what kind of hard?
It's a little vulnerable, but that doesn't seem to be really the issue. It I have this repeating experience where I do reach out to people that I really like, and then over time I just don't feel like I have the energy to maintain ongoing connections with all the people that I want to, and then it fades away, and then I feel bad because it faded away. And so I kind of have this sense of resignment around reaching out to all the people that I want to, because if it's going to fade away eventually, and it's
So is the maintain?
Pause, whatever that question is. Check in and see if there's any fading away for you happening, even as he's sharing. Is there?
Yeah.
Yes. So this is the beauty of this practice, is the very thing he's noticing, he's inside of. He's actually creating for himself, even as he's noticing it. And it's something he can either loop in, like we all do, like a hamster wheel, or something that you can infinitely wake up out of. And if you're noticing it, he's so accustomed to it, and this is a familiar pattern for him, you may actually help him see it in the moment. Before we move to, that's the third practice, so this is perfect. Before we do, and we could do this for hours, but try giving back to him what you've gotten so far about what his world was like as he asked that question. Can you do that? As he shared, not as he, okay. As he shared that about the disconnection.
Mm-hmm. What I'm hearing is that we sat down and started connecting, and then it was nice, and you thought to yourself, oh, I like you, and why don't we do this more? And then it went into the like, oh gosh, because then if I reach out, then it's gonna fade away anyway, and I don't have the energy to maintain it, and then kind of, is that what it's like?
Yeah, I'd say that was a fairly good breakdown.
Great. And like any good connoisseur, you could, and I would recommend doing a few more rounds to actually further accentuate all the nuances of what it was like for Garrison. What was he enjoying with Bodhi? What did it feel like when he was close? And what was it like to then immediately pop out to, oh, but I don't reach out to her much and it'll probably fade. And you can really explore together what that's like so richly that he'll get more acquainted with what that's like. And you get to know what he was enjoying about you, probably. But the third round is to actually celebrate the dissonance. So this is what I've gotten with you so far, and the part that's still not fitting for me is, and this part's crucial, because the only way to create more depth of connection is by celebrating the dissonance fully, not as if it's a problem or something wrong, but fully celebrating, oh, this part's not matching yet. Celebrating the dissonance is the path towards harmony. Acting as if there's something wrong with the dissonance is more dissonance. Again, like a hall of mirrors forever. So the moment that doesn't fit for you yet, begin.
God, you're just going away already. I'm bored. I'm just kidding. I had to get that out of my system. So when we were talking, I noticed that it started to feel a little bit more muffled between us, like a little bit less sparky, and I started to feel less excited. And when Decker paused us, there was, and I checked in, I was like, oh yeah, I am feeling like things are fading. Did you feel that?
In retrospect, yeah.
And the part I haven't gotten yet is there, if you could, imagine you're tapping for a stud before hanging a perfect picture in your room. And you got to find the spot where it's really you're going to hit something. For you, what would that be in everything that Garrison was sharing?
There's a couple of things. One is, what is it that you're, like, are you wanting something with regards to connection or the people in your life?
And for this practice, perfect. For this practice, is there something that you were wanting with me before you jump to how it would go wrong, etc.?
Mm-hmm. Is there something that you're wanting with me?
Well, I feel good about our connection, and yeah, I'd like to connect more with you. I think I hold myself back.
What do you hold back?
And before that goes to theoretically what he holds back, is there a way that he's holding himself back right now while he says that he'd like to connect more with you?
Is there a way that you hold yourself back right now?
Probably. But I don't know what it is. Or I don't know how to define it.
And in phase 3, you get to share, Bodhi, where the disconnect is for you, not as an authority on where Garrison's off, but as your truth that may give him the opportunity to hear the buzz in the background that he's become so accustomed to that he doesn't realize it's running his interactions subtly. As he shared his answer to your question about whether he was wanting something with you, was there any dissonance for you in his share or his answer?
It felt really good to hear that you want to connect more with me. And it felt like there was a little bit of a but that was about to come. That, like some sort of concern or something.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there is actually. There's a feeling of if I connect with someone, I'm obligated to maintain that connection ongoingly. And it feels like too much work. And I want to be able to enjoy people without having to feel like I have to be constantly stoking the fire of that connection.
Cool. So you wanna be able to hang out and make contact and be with people without having to
With me.
Oh.
Keep going.
So you want to be able to have contact and hang out and with me without having to feel obligated to call me next week or continue without feeling like I'm going to take it personally if you don't feel like it next week or something like that.
I think so. I think I have a story that there's an expectation set up that I'm always going to be consistently showing up, and I just want it to feel good when I see people.
Well done. So it's at this point that it tends to iterate, to loop back into level 2 again, and you continually explore and clarify. Now, even at this first round, Garrison might get to see how quickly, because of that background pre-concern, the moment he owns his desire or enjoyment of another person, it's only for a moment, and then in a flash he's talking about, theoretically, about how he struggles with this, or how this is kind of hard for him, or how he holds himself back. His attention immediately goes back to himself within moments, which shows up as dissonance for you because he was just sharing that he was enjoying you, or implying it, right? So that's already something that he can start to recognize and wake up out of, so that he can practice sitting with really enjoying people, or really wanting something with people, without any preamble and without any disclaimer. And if you iterate, and if anyone who is practicing something similar to this iterates, then you can fall back to like, oh wow, and if they have an expectation of you and you don't meet it, it seems like that's not like a casual thing for you. That's like a huge deal for you. What's that like? It's not just a casual concern. This is really showing up for you. Layer by layer, deeper and deeper, we can continually wake up out of who we thought we were, so that our relationships become more and more rich and real, but only forever. Any last words you want to acknowledge with each other, or favorite moments? You can do that now.
That was helpful. And it's funny because when I hear myself speak to it, it seems like such a story that isn't based on a lot of actual truth, and yet I can see the way that story plays out in my life. So it's been helpful to look at it through a different lens.
I really enjoyed getting to know you a little better, and then and getting to see this thing, and I can totally relate to it. I'm like, oh, I want that too. So yeah.
Last question on this. This is a critical point for this, because we're not learning how to be therapists for each other. As this flows, it becomes more and more playful, energetic, and natural. And it's a two-way street. Either one of you can discover something about yourself in any moment, and either one of you can start getting the other person's world in any moment. So, Garrison, of all the moments for you in interacting with Bodhi, were there any highlight moments that you would have wanted to drill deeper into in getting her world? And for those of you watching this, as Garrison's thinking about it, think for yourself. What are some of the moments that you would go back to and get curious about with Bodhi?
The moments that stood out to me, that I enjoyed the most, were the moments where you kind of got caught in speaking, and there was a moment where you didn't quite know where to go. And there was a vulnerability in that moment, and my curiosity was about what is it that you're trying to do right now.
And when you see an energy surge like that, that tends to mean you just found a stud. Another fun one, of infinite ones, I would love to drill into what it is that she's trying to get out of her system when she does something mischievous, like acting like you were going away already.
Right, yeah.
That one seemed rich as well. And she looks ambivalently impacted by that one. Which I definitely want to drill in that one now. All right, you two, thanks for playing. So those are the 3 rounds. This practice can go forever. It does not replace an individual practice, but it can supplement it. The age-old story of the monk who lives in perpetual satori but goes into town and is a complete asshole to the villagers is not completely contrived or just for humor's sake. There is a relational component in waking up to your own truth that can only happen with each other.